Welcome back everyone to the Hanseatic Dreamland, today with a special planning episode. I decided to come back to this project very soon because I've just recorded so many things in this project lately, as for like backgrounds, footage and all these kind of things. And I figured I'm not done yet. There's just too much potential in here. So before we jump into these little bits we are going to change soon, I'm going to show you first of all the full overview. Mainly the reason why I am still going on is because Frontier has continuously improved the performance of this game, it seems like. And the initial reason why I stopped in here was obviously the lack of ideas and creativity spark, because I needed a new project, which has been fulfilled by obviously the Black Forest Park, but I still see this thing as unfinished, but I love it so much, so we have to continue. But also because of the performance was already questionable at this point. But as you can tell, it is super nice. I mean, we don't have guests in the park yet, but it still works with guests too, so that is fine. I tested that, all good. Now, I have a couple of ideas what we're going to do, and I want to share them with you before we go on, so you know what to expect in the future and what we are going to look forward to. And also, I need your ideas, what you could also imagine happening in this park. So as for the moment, I'm going to go through some very dedicated areas first, and we are going to start with the first one right away. Alright, first area is actually the sci-fi open gate part. Now, what I really dislike about this part of the park is that there is a flat ride, what was a really cool idea with the sunken flat ride over here, but it's continuously broken and I can't really fix it with kind of the things I'm doing right now. Also, you can tell that the interior here is still not fully done. There's still that coaster, there's still this kind of area I wanted to turn into more likely like a sci-fi fair, you know, and this is something I still want to desperately do because I still love how this looks in the back, but the rest obviously cannot hold on to what we have. So definitely wanted to go in and change this area up quite a lot and making things go in. But also I want to turn this area into a bit of an entrance area, which we are just quickly going to mark out, because honestly I do believe that this is the best idea to just get an idea how we are going to approach that. So first things first, this is going to be the entrance bit. So obviously there's the rest of the park already here, but I want to make sure that this is going to turn into a parking lot area, and so we have like the incoming park path or street somewhat like over here, you know, that continues to go a little bit like that. And then because we do have plenty of space here, so that can actually be a super nice entrance area. And I want to reallocate the entry to this part over here. So this over here is going to be parking lots and separated by that water bit over here, and this could also be like a nice bay area for the parking. And then we have like an entry road somewhat coming in like this, you know, nothing really special. But what I really want to do is I want to get rid of this building. A couple of things I'm using in here. What happens if I delete this? Well, that's not a good idea. But we can clean that up by doing this, and same goes here, just cleaning a couple of things up. And then obviously also let me tune down the audio a little bit for me. There you go. I need to adjust that later on in the video, I guess, but it's fine. It can be a little bit lower anyways. So that is this, and if we continue painting down, then this is going to be where like an entrance plaza is going to be happening. So this is going to be a bit of a second entrance to the park. I still had the issue that with the park, most of the kind of guest flow was obviously coming in from over here, you know, that's the main entrance, and it took way too long until everyone goes over to this side. So which is why we are finally making this area a bit of a proper one, you know. So this is definitely going to be an entrance plaza, and then we are going to make sure that the overall pathway is going to lead more into what the park is needing and deserving, you know, a proper connection to the other side. So we will have like a nice kind of bridge situation going on here, turning this whole area a bit more into an open plaza. So I guess this is what I want to tackle relatively soon, to make sure that this has a proper connection to the rest of the park. Anyways, let's jump over to the next area. Hold on for a second. Before we go in, there's a note from the sponsor of the channel and a bit more of a personal one. So if you haven't gotten Planet Coaster 2 yet, I highly recommend getting this one. You can get this from Instant Gaming, as you can see, for a good discount, and you can also get all the DLCs as you wish, but also other games like Planet Zoo obviously is available. They even have Planet Zoo 2 already listed. By the way, that's not the final logo, as I was told. Potentially this is just a placeholder by Instant Gaming, because I just asked Frontier if that is. But anyways, you can just get all deals, all Instant Gaming money, whatever. You can also get Steam money, as you can see, whatever. It's a very good service, and you support me directly, so get the link in the description or the link to the top right if I remember putting it in, and just enjoy a good service while supporting your favorite camel. Well, that's it. Let's go back to the video. Which frankly is our cruise ship. As much as I love the cruise ship with the water park on top of it, I got to change a couple of things about it. Not about the ship per se, but about the idea. I do think we are keeping it as a backdrop, a non-functioning backdrop. I think I'm going to basically get rid of the connection in here, closing all these things down, and making sure this is just like the Hanseatic Dream, about to leave our park soon. Because the problem is, as much as I love it, and as much as it's a really cool kind of thing and project, and you know, we've got that kind of cool interior here with all these things, and you know, it's all built and blah blah blah, it just takes too many people up, and it just they are missing in the park. Unless Frontier is not going to give us unlimited amount of guests in the park, are definitely going to change this. But the biggest issue about this area is the area itself. If we look at this building, for example, there's like a coaster going through here, which is really cool, but there's really not much going on else here. We have like a bit of a backdrop here with this one, and the only kind of ride that is in here is this drop tower that we have close by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change up this entire building. I may actually open this up to one side and build like a cool kind of sun terrace over here, terrace where people can actually chill in the sun, relax a little bit here in the area, and maybe we are going to find like a flat ride that suits this area, and we are going to enlarge this with a huge kind of restaurant area in here. I think this could be a really cool semi-open restaurant area, which is why we are, again, in terms of preparation, we are going to just open this up over here. So I already forced myself to get grips with it. So this is kind of cool, and I'm gonna open another 3 up over here, and then let's go into the other building. I'm gonna delete these things and gonna delete these things. This is actually kind of cool. I didn't remember that I did build kind of modular over here, but that is also going to get a bit more nice light in here and just open up for what the park is to offer. Or maybe we can also have like a flat ride on a floating island over here, or maybe just create like an island in the middle where we can put a flat ride. We've got so many kind of cool flat rides that we could go for, but first things first, we're going to type in restaurant, because in here we have a lack of restaurants anyways. This back part area of the park has a severe lack of these things. So I'm not sure where I'm going to put these counters, because I would need to be like a real restaurant with like backstage opportunities, which we don't have. But I think this corner over here would make sense, and I'm going to put this right in here, I guess. I'm gonna put a second one down, just making sure that we have got 2 of these, and then we can easily put like a bit of a building to the back side here, so that makes sense. So you know what, actually, while we're at it, we can just, you know what, we can just say, let's go for some plaster walls. Just, you know, it's not going to be the finished version, obviously not, but we are going to just quickly bring in a couple of walls. A lime plaster? How about the lime plaster? Nah, it's not really what I want to go for. Let's go with the normal plaster wall, and we're just going to create like something that is technically going to be like the actual kitchen where stuff is going to be cooked, you know. Let's do it that way, and just kind of get these things on top of it. And there we have it, and then we can also just make that ever so much gray, because that is obviously way too bright. So here you go. You know, we've got that little bit of a building here tacked to it, which again, realistically would be the kitchen. I'm gonna semi-open that up and make sure that works. So this is kind of cool. And as in for flat rides, we are going to have a look what else is in here. There's some really cool flat rides. My issue obviously is if we put a flat ride in here, which we could easily just like plop down here and just raise that up and then kind of create this as a part of it. My main issue is like how we would deal with like the weather, storms and raising tides and stuff like that, because that would realistically not work. But I mean, at the other hand, this is also not flooding proof over here anyway, so I could just like ignore it and go for it. Obviously the wave machine would be fun to have a wave machine. You know what, actually, this is not really too stupid. Like, wouldn't this be a fun idea to have like the wave machine? And as we have the pool over here, we could technically argue that this get a second connection, like from the people getting from the pools right over here to the wave machine. That would be like a really fun element, as in for the Hamburg idea, you know, having this area to surf in is, I guess, a very fun thing to do. But as for the placement, I do believe I need to be very close to here, because realistically ships still need to pass through here, because it still is not fully abandoned, so the rest of the harbor needs a connection for ships, you know. So that's that, and I believe this is kind of a cool idea. I guess I'm gonna go for it. Let's see that we can align that to the same height here. That needs to be like somewhat like this, and when we get a tad bit down, because as for waterproofness, as this is like a surf ride, this can actually go and flood a little bit, I guess, here and there. So let's just plop it down as for what we need to do in the future. This is a problem for future Rudi, okay? But this area over here is getting a massive glow up with the ship and how it's all gonna look, because at the moment it's super boring and there's not real reason for people to go here. So that's about that. Let's go to the next area. So the next area is just a couple meters off where we've left off last time, but this is a big chunk of the map that is still available, and there's also a blueprint I was using for the parking lot, which comes in very handy, because I think I'm gonna copy that a couple more times, and I'm going to make another delivery hub over here. What I do want to create is like a fake train station. That is definitely gonna be it, and this is going to be the first little community thing I want to do. So I didn't announce that bigger or bolder or whatever. I will put this in the workshop later on as like a challenge, or I will also put it in the Discord as a little challenge as well, so you guys are aware. But if you want to build like a little train station, a modern-esque kind of train station that kind of resembles, you know, a typical harbor area maybe, it's not going to be big, you know, it should be like a little modern drop-off where we can have some, you know, train tracks going in. You can see there's also some fake train tracks I used over here as in for the cargo delivery hub or so. That would be fun, because I want to then have it, in the best case, with a lowered entry point, so that the train tracks that are coming in from the subway maybe, so you can hide that as an individual piece, you know. It should be just one piece, and on the platforms from the train, they should be having, you know, hidden spawn points in there. So that would be fun to do here. So this is going to be where this is going to sit. Also, we can, at that point, also get rid of some of the trees and mark ourselves this area. So this is actually going to be an area, and also because I want to just quickly tell you, so I want to have like a bus station over here, and the bus station will then have the bus bring the people actually to their dedicated area. So what I'm going to do with this bus is I'm going to have like a bus ride that goes all the way across here to the other side. So I'm going to have this raised over here as like in a bridge, you know, and this bridge is then gonna cross all the way over here. I mean, I will potentially relocate this crane over here a little, because that is apparently super unrealistic, but I want to just bring this thing down here, and then on the other side, obviously, go into this area. Again, this is not the finished version, don't you worry. It's just like for me as a little reminder. And I want to have the bus ride then continue all the way around here, just like crossing it there through here, and then bring the people back. Maybe I'm also going to just squeeze that through here to make also that little bit look nicer. And then the bus is passing by and goes back, and then it's going to be connected to this entry point. So this should be an area where the guest cannot achieve, or kind of achieve is the wrong word, arrive in the park without taking the bus. This is kind of the idea. Having a train station, having the bus over here, having some parking lots over here with a couple of hidden spawn points, and then they need to go to the bus and will be brought over, because I want this whole project to feel a lot more alive, also with its backstory when it comes to logistics and so on. But there's even more, so let's jump to the next point. Alright, this is a bit of an easy one. This is our Mega Coaster, and the Mega Coaster is obviously passing through some parts of the park that are not really connected to the main park. So what we are obviously going to do is we are going to finish off this parking lot area and also the connection with the road over here. We are doing a bit of terrain work, a bit of foliage work, a bit of, you know, just general work. We do also some custom supports over here because that looks not really realistic. And I will change up these buildings a tad bit so that they're a bit more realistic. So it's not really that much. I guess this will still kind of require an entire episode at the end of the day, to be completely honest with you. It would be mental to say this is just part of another episode, because it is quite a lot of work to make this all fit in. We need to hide a couple more spawners here and there to make sure that people not only come from, you know, these areas in here where you have the boat, and I think I've also hidden another spawner somewhere down here, so as it seems like they're coming over. But you know, most of the blueprints how this area should look like I already have, you know, with that kind of fake hotel over here with the fake hotel rooms. Still loving that. That is going to be continued obviously, and then made sure that this thing. We also need to change the cargo buses, and obviously this is another little community thing. I need some different versions of buses. In the best case possible, obviously more Hamburg looking like ones. They obviously need to be covers for those buses. I also would love to give people out there like a variation of these things as a blueprint from you guys created, to give you guys the exposure, but also to make sure we have more variants on these buses, because like that is just the modern version. It's just nice, but it's essentially, it is what it is, you know. It's fine for once, but we need some more variation in it. That would be lovely. And that's about it already for this area. So we need to move on before we've got 2 more areas to cover. And actually 3 to be honest. But one of those is the main one, the most important of the entire park. But we're going to go on with another one first. So I gotta blame myself for that one. The main reason why I need to redo this area, as you can see, is a fix from Frontier that I actually asked for. Yeah, well, these pieces over here, the sandstone wall pieces, they used to be default this way, and they have been flexicolor from the very beginning when they gave us this update. Now the problem is the update has had a flexicolor option in, but it was not working, and I thought, first of all, it was a mistake. So I was begging Frontier that they would allow us to use these things as a, like, actually what it is, you know, a flexicolor. Because if you go for the default, that is nice, but what we can obviously do now is we can create some stuff like this. We can actually have these things. Why is this also not the same? Okay, well, that was kind of stupid why it wasn't. So let's see if we can make them all the same color, or somehow like this. So you can see we can actually make this like look a little bit more as if it's from the water, weathered, opposed to the other things that look normal. It's just a subtle detail, but it does work. And Frontier, again, they have delivered. They gave us the option. I'm just wondering if we also had the decals in the different color. Let's have a look what happens if I do it this way. Okay, I can't really do anything. Reset to default. Okay, that doesn't do anything. So let's see if I can just do that. Okay, so they don't seem to work at all. Okay, that is interesting to say the least. Can I do it with a single one? Oh, I can't do this with a single one either. Okay, excuse me then. I'll have to, I guess, redo the entire bit over here because they seem to be broken for the moment, which is a freaking pity. What about this? Okay, that works. I think it's actually even easier to recolor the top rather than going for that one. So actually, you know what? We're just gonna go for the orange for the moment being. Just because I will fix this in the full episode, because there is obviously a lot more than just that. It doesn't really look too bad, to be honest, with the orange. So yeah, I opted for this earlier because I like the way how, oh my god, there's some more of these. I like the way how the pirate area turned out, but it's obviously not finished, and especially this kids area over here, and I had a long debate with myself what I'm going to do with this area, but I finally have an idea, and now it's time for you guys to give me feedback on that. I want to create like a nice kids outside area over here. This should be like a splash playground, you know, playground versus, or actually not versus, but mixed up with a splash pad and playground area. I think that could be really cool in the midst of some pirate ships, like a really kind of pirate inspired kids playground versus water park area. You know, for the summer you can enable the water stuff, and for the winter it may just be the playground and the rest is kind of closed. But I think this would be really cool to have in here, and then have the coaster soar over it. Would be really fun to do this. Anyways, let's move on to actually the last bit, because I want to save up something special, what I'm not going to talk about for the future. Let's go to the most important thing though. Okay, this perfectly timed intro music of our project for the most boring, dull and lifeless part of this park. This is the main plaza in front of our Sci-fi Expo. But oh boy, this is a good, what is that, 10% of the map? 10% of our park, and this is freaking empty. There is nothing going on. There is just two very loveless little rides I just placed down because they were new at some point and just wanted to have a look at that. There's no queue, there's no seating area, there's nothing, there's no interest, there's no raised area, no platform, no nothing. This is going to be completely changed. Also, let's just get rid of these rides already, because they certainly will not be in here. Honestly, I have to completely redo this area. I am absolutely madly annoyed. I just looked at this lately and I was like, how could I possibly left this area like this? Like, in all honesty, how? How was this at the point I did this? How was I thinking that this is the right choice? I don't know. There is so much option. Also, there's this building, which is also empty, and we can make use of that building to put something in. There's like so much space to do some really cool stuff, and some really cool space to get a proper connection to this dead end of the park, because that is a freaking dead end. And what we will have to do, no matter what we think, we have to create a bridge that crosses over here, and we have to create a bridge that crosses over here. And also somehow in my mind, I have the feeling that I did this already. But it's not in here. Maybe this is actually also not the latest save. See, it's already that far that I don't even know what is the latest save, but it doesn't matter. All the changes we did were just like notifications for me, nothing that I would need. But oh boy, this area is, it is like so freaking dull, and it has to be changed. But yeah, so these were the main areas I wanted to talk about. Let's do a little quick summary for today's video, and then you guys can jump into the comments and give me more ideas. So here's the full overview of our Hanseatic Dreamland. As I said, I am madly in love with this project. Still, it is so cool. I think it is a very unique project in the Planko area, and I'm still very proud of having chosen that one for the beginning. And it was really good. It was all good that I made a bigger break, but we have to get back into it. I love it to bits, and I think it's one of my best projects I've ever done in terms of ingenuity, but it's also like a typical Rudi project with some over-the-top ideas that wouldn't work, a little bit of Rudilistic stuff, and just a vibe, you know? The whole thing has a vibe, and I think this is exactly what I need to bring in here. It has to get this vibe across. We have to finish that off and make use of whatever is Planko having in store for the future. I cannot wait to see what the next update is having. I have no idea, but if I have an idea, you know, we have so many areas over here. For certain, whatever they do, we will make it fit in some of these areas because there's so much to do. Either we have new opportunities for, I don't know, a special coaster we can put somewhere, or we have opportunities to, I don't know, do something with hopefully hotels in the future. You know, there's a lot of space to put hotels in. Maybe at some point we get a dark ride type of thing, a suspended dark ride that we can put somewhere in. Maybe we get some cooler kind of shop options or so. Maybe some of the old brands return and we can do some more shops and stuff like that. There's like so much, some cool flat rides maybe for the future. There's like so many opportunities we could get in the future, and all of these would fit in. But I guess the most important thing about this project is getting the infrastructure right and giving the whole project a little bit of a push. Also, what I want to say is, I'm just going to quickly show you. Ooh, what the heck is this? What the heck was that? I did something very odd with the music over here. I don't know how I did this, but I made the music go slow. What the heck is this? How did I do this? Wait. I wanted to do something. Can I just undo this? Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Hold on, I'm just gonna open that again. Hopefully that fixed it. Yeah, it did. I wanted to bring back the UI, and apparently the same hotkey on the audio thing makes it go slower. That was ridiculous. But yeah, what I want to show you is, if I go to the settings, you can see that I'm still running on the full TAA. So I have still the option to go to DLSS and then put this one in. If I apply the changes, by the way, let's have a little quick look. I went now from 50 FPS, I went now to 100 FPS. That is insane. That is insane. I mean, so, you know, there's plenty of buffer to play in this park, which is very unlikely to say for Planet Coaster, but Frontier has really done a good job. And also, I gotta say that the visual difference between TAA and DLSS is not really available, in my opinion. It's a kind of washed out, a little bit washed out, but as for exploring the park later on, there's no big issue with that. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, that is the last full overview we have of the park for now, and it's gonna be changing dramatically in the future, and I need all of your ideas. If you spot a part of the park that we can change differently, let me know in the comments down below. And if you got something special that you would love to see in a park like that, let me know. Or if you have watched the series and you figured there are some issues you want to see changed, let me know as well. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next one.